Well, my daughter Shasta, and we lost her to SIDS in 1998. So she was 6 weeks old. That was very tough, very tough year, very tough day for me. Remember early in the morning, it was going to be the first day that my wife was going back to work from having the baby. So I was excited. I was going to have the baby with me and my other daughter. She was 2 years old, and so early in the morning, before my wife got up, I took the baby, just the baby and I. We went to the store, and I think we bought some things. I don't know, maybe some formula or something we needed. Got back home, and my wife soon left for work, and my 2-year-old sitting there watching The Little Mermaid on the TV, and after a while, put the baby down for a nap, and laid her on her back, and the door to the baby's room was just cracked open, and then there's a very short, small hallway, and then there was a recliner where I was sitting, and my 2-year-old sitting in the floor watching TV. So I think, I was probably snoozing a little of some of that, and I peeked in on the baby a couple of times, and she was sleeping, and so probably about the second time we watched The Little Mermaid, and I realized it's almost over. So it's been a little while since the baby's been up. Let me go check on the baby again. So I go in there, and I see her face down with her arms straight out, face down in the mattress. And you know from the picture you see, you go, oh, no, that's not right. She wasn't turned one side or the other. Her face was right down in a mattress. And I quickly scooped her up, and the minute I touched her, she was cold, and she had a little blood coming out of one of her nostrils, and I just stepped over and grabbed the phone, called 911, and I began trying to give her air and trying to do CPR on this little baby, but also realizing that she'd already passed. It wasn't 2 minutes, and there was a police officer at the front door, and I let him in, and he started to work on her, doing CPR himself. And I was at the front porch, and I just went to my knees, and I was crying, wailing out. Oh, I was crying so hard. The paramedics showed up, and in almost no time they were off. They were gone. The police were still with me, asking me questions, and talked to me about my wife. Where is she? Of course, I told them that she'd gone to work, and they made arrangements to have a police officer go and pick her up from work to bring her to the hospital. There's a lot of fogginess here with some of this. All I remember is crying. That's all I remember. It was tough, and ended up going to the hospital, and within I don't know how long, several minutes, my wife arrived, and she was crying, and she was quite bitter. She, on more than one chance, asked me what did I do to her baby, and it and it's like the whole world was against me. And I realized, and I was already told by the police that the house is a crime scene. We can't go back there right now. They're doing an investigation, and in fact, there was never a police officer that wasn't with me. They had a room there in a hospital. I guess they call it the cry room or something, and I was definitely crying. And a police officer went in there with me, and at various times you would get a nurse that came in to see me, and asked me a couple of questions. I don't really remember all of the detail. I mean, obviously I had to tell them what happened, the events that led to the accident, and then a doctor came in and informed me that she had passed, which I already knew. And I guess I guess you could say that I was just uncontrollably crying, wailing, like a big baby. I am a big baby, I know that, but this was just. So I was talking to the doctor and the police officer there, and I said, I don't know, just, if it would help, just put me in jail if my daughter can come back. I made some statements. I think they think I was crazy. I didn't really care what statement I was making. I didn't, and I pretty much told them I don't care. And I said I should have been holding a baby. I should have been holding her. And the doctor kind of stepped in and said, you can't hold your baby a week at a time. I said, yes, I could. He goes, but you couldn't hold her a month. I said, yes, I could. He goes, can you hold your baby a whole year without ever putting her down? No. He goes, well, this is an accident, and unfortunately, this accident just happened, and you don't have any fault here. And pretty much from then on, and the officer and the doctor stepped down for a moment, and I think that's when the police decided that I wasn't guilty. But I mean, to this very day, it hurts. It is unnatural for your child to die before you, and I didn't do anything wrong, and I know I didn't, but it still just hurts. It hurts. She was in my care, and she passed, and it just hurts. And somebody can tell me all the logic behind, like the doctor did, and I appreciate what he did, but I just wish she did not pass away. There was several months later, I ran into an old employee of mine that was a Taco Bueno employee of mine. I saw him at another Taco Bueno, and he was a Spanish fella, and he actually was a doctor in Mexico before he came to the United States, and I hired him. He barely spoke any English, but he speaks a lot better English, now. And yeah, as you can imagine, I was tore up for many, many months. I'll guess you could say I wallowed in it. It hurt me. It hurt me. So, of course, I saw him for the first time in a long time, and how are you doing and all this, and then I ended up telling him a baby passed away, and he was a lead man or something. Anyway, he comped our meal, and he actually came out and sat down with me and my wife. He's never met my wife before, and he sat there and he said, "I'm going to tell you something. The death angel was coming to your house. And the death angel said, 'I'm taking someone.' And your baby said, 'Take me. Take me.' And I know it's something that he was saying to comfort me, and you know what? It did comfort me, and it gives me an opportunity to say there's some meaning in it, and you know, I really appreciated that. But anyway, I wanted to let you know about my daughter, and that she lived only 6 weeks, and she was still a big part of my life, and hopefully one day I'll join her in heaven. Thank you.